Gavin, you do this with me, okay? You're going to breathe in, and when you breathe in the sound. Breathe it right into your heart. When you exhale, so you breathe in and you count to 4, we'll say. And then when you exhale, we'll count to 6. We're going to do 3 breaths, okay? Ready? Does it feel good? More aligned, calmer. Sometimes when we are feeling an emotion, we can just tell ourselves, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling sad. And we can just let it move through us. And by not telling a big story about it, so say you're angry and you start to say, I'm angry again and I'm a bad person. I shouldn't be angry. That just keeps it going. But if you just say, just recognize, kind of like you're a bird sitting on a perch looking down, and you just observe and say, that's anger. And it's okay to feel it. And once you feel it, you can just let it move through. Instead of giving yourself more labels and telling yourself stories and saying, you know, I must be bad or I must be broken or something like that. And the more you plan for those times, the kitty's having trouble. The more you plan for those times, the easier it is to move through them. If you understand that I'm going to have emotions and here's what I'm going to do when this comes up, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. So you don't have to be afraid when you start to have emotions, even if they're considered bad, because there are no bad emotions. They're just emotions. And they're there for a reason. They're showing you something. That there's something that needs to be healed in you. So, if you can look at it with love, and always treat yourself with love. Always, always, always. Because you are worthy of love just the way you are. You don't have to fix yourself. You're not broken. You were born worthy of love. Nothing will change that, ever. And you can and should love yourself because you deserve it. And you can always love yourself, treat yourself with kindness, speak to yourself with kindness. And there are people in your life who will love you, but you have to love yourself first. So if you're feeling anger or sadness, the first thing you do is you can say, it's okay. And just, you can even picture yourself putting your arm around like little you and saying, it's okay, I'm here with you. I can see that you're sad, and that's all right. And then you can just let the sadness move through you, or the anger, But you always show up for yourself first. Now, when you're a grown up and and you start to have grown into these roles and responsibilities and labels, and all of a sudden you start to wake up and realize these roles and labels aren't for me anymore and they're not aligned with who I really am, then they start to fall away. It's almost like your soul is growing through this shell that you've encased yourself in, and the shell starts to crack, and that can be frightening. And you think, oh crap, I don't know who I am anymore. Your old identity starts to fall away. And in those moments, that's when it's important to really lean into your inner guidance. That's why it's so important to establish this daily practice of quieting your mind and listening to your soul and seeing where your soul wants to lead you. Because your mind in those moments will try to cling to old situations. It will try to cling to old relationships. It will try to cling to old titles, because we think that these that's what gives us worth, right? We're kind of trained to believe that, we should be good at sports and we should be good at school and make a lot of money and so on and so forth, and that's what makes us worthy. So when those things start to kind of fall away because they're not truly what's important, that can be very frightening. So that's when you lean into, what is my soul trying to show me? Your soul will always be guiding you back to love and your true self and your true soul blueprint and who you really are. And if you can remember that and really give yourself grace and allow yourself to follow that guidance, you can navigate the path with more ease. Sometimes the direction that your soul wants to go is in direct opposition to maybe where you've gone in the past or who you've been in the past, or what society thinks that you should do in order to be a good child, mother, brother, sister, whatever. And those are the times that it takes a lot of courage. So be brave. Give yourself grace. And just allow yourself to move in that direction. And you're going to have to tune out noise and judgment. And that's also hard because, again, we've been trained that we should please other people. And that's what makes us worthy. Like, everyone should like me, right? But that can't happen. When you think about it, that's impossible. That's where all of our people pleasing comes from, is that we just want everyone to like us. I don't want to upset anyone. I want everyone to have a good opinion of me. But everyone that you meet in your entire life has a different version of you in their mind. It depends on when they met you, how they met you. If you met me 10 years ago, there's absolutely no way you know me now. 5 years ago, even. People have a different version of me in their minds, and I had to start to be okay with knowing that some people, in some people's story, I'm a villain. In some people's story, I'm an angel. In some people's story, I'm a clown. And I'm okay with that too. But you have to be okay with that, because you can't, you're just not going to make everyone happy and you would drive yourself crazy doing it. And that's how we end up people pleasing and thinking that we need to do everything for everyone else so everyone else is happy. So you end up walking on eggshells. You end up living this life that's not truly for you. And people think, and some people will tell you, that it's selfish to turn away from all of those obligations, right? To care for yourself and to love yourself first and to allow yourself to bloom. They'll say that it's selfish, and it's truly not, because if you think about it, sorry, that's the cat. If you think about it, what's best for you first, for the world at large, for the collective, for your family, for the people who love you, the best thing for you to do, it's not selfish, it's necessary, is for you to show up as your true self in full bloom, because you have a specific frequency, you have a specific note to sing in the symphony, you have a specific key that we all need to unlock truths. You're all one piece of a bigger puzzle. That's what you're here to do. And I think about sometimes how we let fear get the best of us. And I was watching a story about a man telling about his near-death experience, and I don't know why, just in that moment, and I've heard a lot of those stories, but it dawned on me, like, we come here for a very, in the grand scheme of things, a very short time. We incarnate and say, oh, we're going to do this, this, and this. And then we freeze up. And we probably go back where we came from and say, did you do it? No, I got scared. But we come here knowing, we can do it. We just get tied up in all of this programming and a fear of upsetting other people. And it's wild when you think about it from that perspective. If you think about, like, if you were playing a video game and you get to, like, maybe the second level and maybe you unlock the next level. And I'm sorry, I don't have any great video game analogies. I'm not very good at Mario Brothers with my grandson is about as far as I've gotten. But if you just stay on that level, because maybe you tried to venture to the next level and you got killed. And you just go back to the next level and you're like, I'm not even going to try anymore. And you just spend the rest of it until just like time runs out on the game. Like, how much fun was that? That wasn't any fun. So try to allow yourself that perspective, that you're here for a reason. You are here as your true self for a reason. We need you. It's not selfish to become you. And you can't fail at it, because you're the only one that can do it. You're the only one qualified for the job. And you've been allowing people to tell you how to do it and how they think you should do it. And the time for that is, honestly, it's over. There's no more time. Like, we need the full you to come sing in this chorus. We need the full you to put your piece of the puzzle, to unlock your knowings and your codes and your frequencies, and to tell your story and to do your thing and just be your beautiful self. I understand the fear. I understand how daunting it is to go against what everyone thinks you should be doing. And thinking, oh, they're going to think this about me and I don't want that. And you just kind of stay there, like, frozen. But you're not, like, what's the point of that? He does love a good paper bag, that cat. Anyway. But what's the point of that? Like, it's not doing anyone any good. And it's wild when I look back and think on it, like, why was I doing that? It was because of the programming and the fear. But if I show up here on YouTube and on TikTok and only 2 people watch me, or only 5 people watch me, and I only ever have 500 followers. That's cool. Like, it didn't hurt me. It's not hurting me. Maybe one person hears what they need to hear, and maybe there's a seed planted, and that's cool. But I had to get past that fear of being rejected, not being good enough, and, people thinking bad things about you, and just begin to be myself, because it got too painful to not do it, honestly. Everything else felt inauthentic. And the more inauthentic of a life you're trying to keep yourself squeezed into, the more painful it gets. And the more you become your authentic self, the more painful the inauthenticity will be. But if you allow your healing and your time to rest and kind of find your true north and just really change your perspective on things, if you allow that to happen, then it becomes more apparent that, okay, everything that's falling away is things that did not match my frequency. They're not a vibrational match for me. And in order for me to keep moving up, I'm going to have to let them go. Now, don't get it twisted and think, I'm just going to not raise my frequency anymore. That's going to happen anyway. It's going to become incredibly painful if you try to avoid it. As more of us raise our frequency, then you're going to come along with us. It's kind of like the waters rising. So if you allow that process to happen, if you allow the old to fall away and you allow your authentic self to interact with the world around you, that's when you're going to attract in the life that's meant for you. The people and the situations and the relationships that are a vibrational match for you. And that's when the magic starts to happen. That's when you start to have, you understand, like, oh, I met this person, and then now here we are a year later, and we're having this interaction, and we have this relationship, and it's like you're weaving an energetic web, and everything that's coming into your web it's almost like magic. It's things that you couldn't imagine on your own. But you have to let go of the old in order to let the new in. Imagine if you had gone into a restaurant and you told the chef, like, make me the most incredible meal you've ever made. And you don't know what ingredients he even has access to because you've never, been a chef. But while you're waiting for that meal, you run across the street to 7-Eleven and fill your table with junk food because you're afraid that the meal that you asked for isn't ever going to come. Well, now that meal can't come because your table's full of junk food. And you're like, I don't want to let it go because what if my real food doesn't come? You gotta let the junk food go. You have to let what's not aligned with you anymore go. And I'm not saying that it's not going to hurt. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't grieve the loss of your identity that, you thought was you. You thought that really was you, these labels and these roles that you took on. I am not minimizing it in any way. But I'm saying if you can recognize that that's what's happening and you can allow it to happen instead of clinging on to it, then things will happen more easily. There is some grieving of the loss of how you thought your life was going to be. You think I thought I was going to retire and do this and do that. And that's not how your life is turning out. There's grief involved there too. But if you can allow it to happen and give yourself grace and compassion throughout the process, then it will start to be less difficult. And if you can recognize the areas in which you have expanded, and you can say and focus on those and say, okay, well, this brings me joy. And this part right now, this, a cup of coffee is something that I'm grateful for. It's something that is aligned with the life that I envision for myself. And you can focus on those things instead of the things that are falling away, then the process will become smoother. But that grace and compassion that you give yourself, and you're allowing yourself to grieve, is important. So I'm not suggesting that anyone just, I don't know, maybe that works for some people. I'm not suggesting that you have to just say, see you bye to everything and everyone. That's not necessary. But to recognize that it is difficult to let go of things, and it's not expected that you just say goodbye and never even think about it again. But if you can recognize that this is something that happens, and you can recognize it in the moment, that this is what I'm feeling, and you allow yourself these emotions and to move through the process, then you can continue to expand as a soul and become more aligned with your true self. All right, well, if nobody has any questions, I'm going to sign off for tonight. I'm sending you all so much love, and I hope that your journey is as peaceful as it can be, and that you're finding joy and gratitude wherever you can, and you're really leaning into that and growing it. If anybody wants to say hi, or if anyone has any questions, you can do that now. But if not, I'll be signing off and sending you so much love, and I will talk to you soon.